During this lockdown period, you must be finding it very difficulty for preparing for your NEET examination. I know the enthusiasm you must be having for the preparation for NEET. So today, this evening, me, Jackson's, I'm going to help you out about how to study and prepare for your NEET examination. Okay, so I hope this session will be very useful to you all, and you will definitely find a plenty of benefits from this session. Okay, so before moving into the sessions, I want you all to be very focused, and we'll enter into the session with full of energy and enthusiasm. Okay, so before moving into the session, everyone is not muted your audio. Please mute your audios, everyone. Yes, now we are about to move into the session. So before moving into the session, one thing you should always remember, okay, that means you can do it. Okay, so you can crack the NEET examination. That is one belief you should have in yourself. Okay, so and studying for NEET examination is not difficult at all. It all depends upon the efforts that you are going to put. First of all, we'll go through the pattern. I hope everyone must be aware of the pattern for your NEET examination. Okay, just we'll go through it once. So now the number of questions asked in NEET examination will be 180 questions. Will be the total number of questions asked. Okay, and total marks will be 720. Now, according to the sections, now physics section carries 45 questions, chemistry section carries 45 sections, whereas biology, because you are going to become doctors, you should have more knowledge about biology. So biology carries 90 marks, 90 questions. And that has been classified into botany and zoology. So botany carries 45 questions and zoology carries 45 questions. With respect to the marking scheme, if you answer a question correctly, you will be awarded plus 4 marks, and for incorrect answer, you will be deducted by 1 mark. And a type of questions, everyone must be aware, MCQ type of questions will be asked, and exam mode will be pen and paper. Okay, and duration will be of 3 hours. Now, this 3 hours of duration is very important. You should be smart enough to manage your time. Okay, you should be smart enough to manage your time. Again, always keep one thing in mind. Now 45 questions of chemistry, you should allot 50 minutes for solving the questions of chemistry. Now today we will be dealing with chemistry. So I am going to give you some tips and tricks about how to prepare for your chemistry paper for your NEET examination. Okay, so let's start. Okay, now first of all, I don't know how many of them are aware of this. Your chemistry has been classified into four types where there is organic, inorganic, physical, and analytical. Analytical I am not included over here because for your NEET examination, most of the topics, almost all the topics are included from organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry, and physical chemistry. These are the three different branches of chemistry. Now, when you talk about organic chemistry, it is completely related to carbon and its compounds. Inorganic, compounds other than carbon, and physical chemistry, it involves lots of experimental observations and all. Okay, and there will be students who will be finding organic chemistry difficult. Some students might find inorganic as difficult, and some students might find physical chemistry difficult. Okay, so today I am going to clear your difficulties, and also I am going to give you some ideas, and that ideas will be helpful to your score good marks. Now, first of all, okay, now we will be looking into the important topics from NEET examination point of view. Again, now the basic thing that you have to follow for preparation of your NEET examination, you have to identify the important topics, and then you have to make a proper plan about how you are going to study. That is more important. It is not like that you brought a book from somewhere, you just opened the book and you started studying. You have to plan your study very well, and that is more important for scoring good marks in it. So first we look at the important topics from your organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry, as well as your physical chemistry. Now organic chemistry. Now organic chemistry, these are a few of the important topics, that is biomolecules and polymers. Then you have hydrocarbons. Then you have general organic chemistry, that is GOC. In short, you can call it as. Then you have alcohols and ethers. Then you have amines and diazonium salts and haloalkanes and haloarenes. Now I have denoted each and every chapter by E and D. E means easy topics and D means difficult. Now difficult doesn't mean that it is so difficult that you will not be able to study. It's like the difference between easy and difficult is that for easy, if you are putting some 70% percentage of your efforts, for difficulty you have to put 100% of your efforts. That is the only difference between easy and difficulty. Okay, so everyone can do well in difficult chapters as well. Okay, and you can say I've mentioned only 6 chapters over here, 6 chapters which are more important for scoring good marks in it. Now that doesn't mean the remaining chapters you don't have to study. Okay, now remaining chapters also you should have some surface knowledge. That means you should have the basic knowledge of remaining chapters as well, because it shouldn't happen. Okay, in the session sir had said that only 6 chapters are important, so I'm going to study only 6 chapters. Other chapters are leave it in option. You should have some surface knowledge of the remaining chapters as well, but focus more on these chapters because these are more important with respect to NEET examination. Okay, I have mentioned over here, you can see the percentage of marks for important topics. Now, in organic chemistry, overall questions asked from organic chemistry is 34%. Okay, now 34% of questions, that is out of 45, 34% of questions will be asked from organic chemistry, and out of 26% will be asked from the 6 topics. Okay, so just imagine you have to put little more effort for the remaining 8% of marks for organic chemistry. And most probably, these are the probable values. These are the exact values. Okay, maximum amount of percentage is 34%. You can see I use the symbol of approximate. Okay, it is not the exact value, these are just the approximate value. Now, biomolecules and polymers, mostly 2 questions are asked from biomolecules and polymers. Okay, and then from hydrocarbons we have more of a number of questions. Almost 5 questions are asked from hydrocarbons. Now in hydrocarbons we have 4 different topics. In hydrocarbons, one we have alkanes, and then we have alkynes, then we have alkenes. Okay, and we have aromatic compounds. Out of this, the most important is aromatic compound, because out of 5, 3 questions are mostly asked from aromatic compounds. Okay, and these are the maximum values. Okay, maximum 5 questions can be asked from hydrocarbons, and maximum 3 questions can be asked from aromatic. So in hydrocarbons, you have to focus more on aromatic compounds. Then general organic chemistry, again 2 questions will be asked from general organic chemistry. Alcohols and ethers, 2 questions. Amines and diazonium salts, 2 questions. Haloalkenes and haloarenes, again 2 questions will be asked. Okay, I'm talking about the maximum number of questions that can be asked from this particular chapters. Okay, so you have to be very well prepared in organic chemistry from with this topic. Okay, so I hope you got an idea for organic chemistry about with respect to the important topics, the topics that you have to focus on. Okay, next we move on to inorganic chemistry. Now in inorganic chemistry, classification of elements and periodicity in properties. Now you know periodic table. Okay, and one more chapter you can see over here, that is the chemical bonding. Now periodic table and chemical bonding, you can say they form the backbone for inorganic chemistry. Okay, periodic table and chemical bonding, they form the backbone of inorganic chemistry, and these are the most important chapters for inorganic. Okay, so inorganic, first you have classification of elements and periodicity in properties. Then you have P block elements. Then you have coordination compounds. Then you have S block elements and hydrogen. Then chemical bonding and molecular structure. Then you have D and F block elements. Okay, again I am repeating, these are the important topics in inorganic chemistry. That doesn't other chapters of inorganic chemistry. Okay, so that doesn't mean other topics of inorganic chemistry you don't have to study. Okay, other topics of inorganic chemistry as well, you should have the surface knowledge. At least you should have the basic knowledge of each and every topic so that you will be able to attempt them. Is it clear? Okay, now again, the percentage of marks for these important topics. Okay, now out of that 45 questions, maximum 30% can be asked from this important topics of inorganic chemistry, and overall percentage of marks for inorganic chemistry will be 34%. Now, with respect to the maximum number of questions that can be asked, that is in classification of elements and periodicity in properties, 2 questions can be asked. From P block elements, 3 questions can be asked. From coordination compounds, again, maximum 3 questions can be asked. S block elements and hydrogen, 2 questions can be asked. Chemical bonding and molecular structure, here maximum 4 questions can be asked from chemical bonding and molecular structure. So one of the most important topic of inorganic chemistry. Then again, D and F block elements, maximum 2 questions can be asked. Is it clear? So again, inorganic chemistry, these are the most important topics. So focus on this topic more as compared to other topics. Okay, next is, so after inorganic, we have physical chemistry. Now in physical chemistry, what are important? Now in physical chemistry, again, chemical thermodynamics, solid state, some basic concepts of chemistry. We have chemical kinetics, then we have solution and colligative property, and chemical and ionic equilibria. Okay, now for physical chemistry, percentage of marks for important topics is 25%, and overall percentage will be for physical is, okay, so overall percentage for physical chemistry will be 32%. Now, if you look at the overall percentage of marks for organic, inorganic, as well as physical chemistry, they are approximately same. So the overall percentage for organic was 34%, whereas for inorganic it was 34%, and for physical it is 32%. That means they are almost equal to each other. That means each and every branch of chemistry carries equal importance with respect to NEET examination. Okay, now in terms of number of questions asked, okay, from chemical thermodynamics, maximum 2 questions can be asked. From solid state, 1 question is always asked. And from some basic concepts of chemistry, 2 questions are asked. In basic concepts of chemistry, you should be very well have the concept of mole. Okay, mole concept is the most important part of basic concepts of chemistry. Then from chemical kinetics, again 2 questions can be asked. From solution and colligative property, 2 questions maximum, and for chemical and ionic equilibrium, maximum 3 questions can be asked. Okay, so I hope you all have got an idea about all the important topics. Again, one more time I will repeat. Okay, for organic, inorganic, as well as physical chemistry, I have given you all the most important topics, and you have to focus more on these important topics. Okay, but that doesn't mean you have to ignore the other topics, because you should have the surface knowledge of other topics as well. Why? I'll give you a simple example. Now, surface chemistry. Surface chemistry I have not included here because it is not that important as compared to this topic. But always remember, from surface chemistry, most simple questions are asked from surface chemistry. Okay, so even if you'll have the basic knowledge of surface chemistry, you will be able to score marks in that question as well. So that is why whatever topics are there, you should have at least the surface knowledge or basic knowledge of other topics as well. Okay, so this is about the important topics. Okay, so what are points I have kept? Okay, keep in mind. So now next important part. Now you must be wondering, okay, we know the important topics, okay, but still we are not able to study, okay, because we are not getting a right part about how to study and all. Okay, so that is a very important question from you all. Okay, now next I am going to solve that difficulty as well. Now let's move on how to study. Okay, so everyone must be having this question marks, as you can see the emoji. Everyone must be having this question marks in your brain. When you take out the book, you all start wondering here and there. Okay, your mom must be asking how much you all finished studying. You will say, I finished lots of things, but still you must have not finished anything. Why? Because you all are totally confused about how to study. You open the book, but then you start wondering what to do, what to study, how to study. So many questions come in your mind. Okay, hopefully today all those questions will be solved. Okay, so now first of all, organic chemistry. You know, many of students, I have seen many students have phobia for organic chemistry, and this phobia they carry Okay, and this phobia they carry right from the beginning of 11th standard. Then how do we get this phobia? Okay, once you enter into 11th standard, there might be some of your neighbors, or you might be having some of your friends. Okay, they might be telling you, okay, organic chemistry is very difficult reactions na, they are very difficult. इतना भी सब पढ़ लो तो भी समझ में नहीं आते reactions. Okay, so I am telling you all, among all the three branches of chemistry, whatever you are studying in chemistry, I will say the reaction is the most easiest part to study. I will tell you all why later. Now, first of all, in organic chemistry, what you have to study well, you have to study GOC, that is general organic chemistry, very well. Now, why general organic chemistry you have to study very well? Okay, now in general organic chemistry you will be having different topics. Okay, for example, you have topics of isomerism, you have topics of electrophiles, you have nucleophiles, you have hyperconjugation. Okay, and then you have qualitative and quantitative analysis. Now, qualitative and quantitative analysis you must have done in your laboratory experiments as well. Okay, so that is why now general organic chemistry carries the most basic things of organic, total organic chemistry. So this is the basic of organic chemistry. So you should have very well knowledge of general organic chemistry. Is it clear? Okay, so what I said, like hyperconjugation, inductive effect, and electrophiles, nucleophiles, resonance structures, all this knowledge you should have very well. And apart from that, then you should have the knowledge of IUPAC nomenclature. You know what is an IUPAC nomenclature? International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. Now, why IUPAC nomenclature is very important? Suppose if a question is asked in the exam, okay, how will you convert 2-chlorobutane to butane 2-ol? Okay, you might be knowing the reaction as well, but if you don't know to write the structure, you won't be able to write down the reaction as well. That is why IUPAC nomenclature is very important. You should be able to draw the structure if IUPAC name is given to you, or you should be able to write the IUPAC name when the structure is given to you. And mostly one question is asked every year from either IUPAC or isomerism. Okay, isomerism also you have different types of isomerism. Okay, so study very well IUPAC nomenclature and isomerism as well. Next, we have electrophiles and nucleophiles. Now, you all might be asking me why electrophiles and nucleophiles are that important. Okay, now electrophiles and nucleophiles you must have studied in your lower standards, but from your NEET exam point of view, you have different mechanisms like SN1 mechanism, SN2 mechanism, like substitution nucleophilic reactions, as well as you have substitution electrophilic reactions as well. If you don't know the meaning of nucleophiles and electrophiles, then you won't be able to understand that substitution nucleophilic reaction and substitution electrophilic reactions as well. So that is why you have to understand electrophiles as well as nucleophiles very well as well, because they form the basic of organic chemistry. Then resonance, okay, because certain questions can be asked in MCQs. Okay, they might give you 4 options and they might ask you which among the following will be having more stability. So under that case, you should have the knowledge of resonance and conjugation. Okay, so this forms the basic for organic chemistry. Okay, now we come to the important part of organic chemistry. Now, important part of the organic chemistry is the chemical reactions. Okay, and this is the phobia most of them are having. If you see a chemical reactions, you get afraid of organic chemistry. Okay, now I'm saying you shouldn't be no more afraid of chemical reactions. Okay, now you must have learned one law, that is law of conservation of mass. Okay, certain chemical reactions are governed by certain laws and regulations. So one law I will say, laws of law of conservation of mass. So what do you mean by that? Mass of the reactant is equal to mass of the product. So that means total number of atoms on the reactant side should be equal to total number of atoms on the product side. So in a chemical reaction, when a reactant is getting converted into a product, number of atoms remains the same. So what do you have to understand? It is the atoms that rearrange among themselves in the reactant so that they get converted into product. So in a chemical reaction, you have to understand how the atoms on the reactant sides are manipulated to form the product. Okay, so you have to focus on how the rearrangement of atoms are taking place in the reactant side. and that is that way you will be able to understand the chemical reactions very well, and never try to recitate the chemical reaction. So chemical, I am telling you, chemical reaction is not a poem like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, which you have to learn in your senior KG. So chemical reactions you have to understand it rather than recitating it. Okay, so if you understand the chemical reactions, and definitely you will never forget the chemical reactions. Okay, and I can say if you understand chemical reactions very well, then you don't need revision also. Directly you can appear in NEET examination as well, because chemical reactions is the most easiest part of chemistry. And if you feel so, still if you have some phobia after understanding as well, then one more method, then you will go to the last level. That is write and practice the chemical reaction. Make a separate book for chemical reactions and write and practice until you become a master in chemical reactions. Okay, and why chemical reactions we have to stress upon? Because every year 3 to 4 questions will be based on the chemical reactions. Is it clear? Okay, so you can see over here every year 3 to 4 questions will be based on the chemical reactions, and that is why chemical reactions are very important. Okay, and from and we have said already the important topics like in biomolecules of organic chemistry. Okay, you can cover the topics of carbohydrates. In carbohydrates, mostly you have to study about the classifications. You should have very good knowledge about monosaccharides. You should have very good knowledge of DL configurations. Okay, and then you should have the base knowledge of proteins. Now, proteins, hormones, and vitamins. You should have the elementary ideas like the each and every terminology is involved in it, like amino acids. Then you should have the knowledge of peptide bond, polypeptide linkages, denaturation of proteins. You should have the knowledge of different types of nucleic acids, DNA, RNA. And with respect to polymers topic, now in polymers, you should have the knowledge of different types of polymers along with examples, the monomers used for the preparation of a particular polymer, their uses and all, and hydrocarbons. We have already discussed alkenes, alkynes, and aromatic compounds. Focus more on aromatic compounds. One more thing, now, in aromatic compounds, you should have the knowledge of physical properties as well. By knowledge of physical properties, suppose if a question is asked, which among the following has the maximum boiling point? And your options are methane, ethane, propane, butane. Okay, you should. Now, if you don't know the physical properties of alkene, then you won't be able to answer this. Okay, according to physical properties of alkene, with increase in number of carbon atom of alkene, what increases? The boiling point increases. Okay, so what you can say, butane is having more number of carbon atoms. That means butane will be having the highest boiling point. Another point is, with increase in number of branches, the boiling point of alkene decreases. Is it clear? So these are the 2 points which describes the boiling point of any alkene. Okay, so you should know the physical properties as well in terms in for hydrocarbons as well. Then general organic chemistry we have already discussed. Is it clear? And a few more tips and tricks about how you can study organic chemistry. Okay, you know the important topics which you all have to cover, and then how to study the chemical reactions also I have studied. So I will give one more simple idea about how you can study the chemical reactions. Okay, now these are called as memory map. Okay, or you can call it as mind map as well. Okay, now in this map you can see this is for alcohol. Okay, now if you look at this, how many reactions are there for preparation of alcohol? Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 5 reactions are there for preparation of alcohol. Okay, now for reactions of alcohol, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, total 6 reactions. That means 5 reactions for preparation of alcohol and 6 reactions of alcohol. So a total 11 reactions. Just imagine the alcohol, for alcohols we have only 11 reactions. Okay, but still you find it difficult to study 11 reactions. Why? Because when you go through your textbooks or any notes, you find plenty of reactions. That means you try to mug up each and every reactions. Okay, it will become difficult. You should make a mind map or memory map and just study the general reactions. If I want to convert an alkyl halide to alcohol, what are the conditions used? Okay, and what is the main thing? You should manipulate the value of R, that is the alkyl group. Okay, according to the product required, you have to manipulate the alkyl group. So in the alkali. Again, if you want to convert an alkene to alcohol, what you should do, you should carry out hydration. And if you want to convert a Grignard reagent to alcohol, you carry out the reactions with aldehydes or ketones. Similarly, if you want to convert an alcohol to alkali, you can carry out the reactions with hydrogen halide or with phosphorus trichloride or phosphorus pentachloride. If you want to convert an alcohol to sodium alkoxide, then you have to carry out the reactions with sodium. Okay, so this mind map, in one paper, you have the entire reactions of alcohol. So it becomes very easy for you all to study as well as revise. Okay, so make a mind map. Now this is made by me according to my ease of studying. Okay, you all might be having some different ease of studying. So you all might be thinking, I want to add few more points into it. So you all make your own mind map. Okay, and you prepare it and study. It will become more easy for you all to remember the reactions. Is it clear? And then, okay, one more I have for amines as well. Okay, so in alcohols, how many reactions we had? We had 11 reactions. Now in amines, how many reactions we have? For preparation of amines, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 reactions we have. And reactions of amines, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Total 14 reactions in amines. So total 11 reactions in alcohol and 14 reactions in amines. So total it is 25 reactions. Okay. So again, in this case, if you want to convert an alkali to amine, you can see only you have to replace the value of R according to the required product. Okay, nothing you should change. Okay, that means you should just remember the general reactions and change the value of R according to the product which is asked in the question. Is it clear? Okay, so total how many reactions are there, including amines? Now we have total 25 reactions. Now next is this is alkaloids. Now, if you consider alkaloids 1, 2, 3, 4 for preparation of alcohols and reactions of alcohol. Okay, how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Total 13. So 25 plus 13, total 38 reactions. Okay, now in these three topics, how many reactions you have? Total 38 reactions you all have. So just imagine, even if you all study 5 reactions a day, okay, even if you all study 5 reactions a day, or practice 5 reactions a day, within a week, you will be completing the entire reactions of these 3 chapters. Isn't it easy? Can't you all do it? Yes, you all can easily do it. I'm guaranteeing this. And so today you have to make a promise that you will be studying accordingly. Okay, 5 reactions a day. So 7 in a week, that is in 7 days of time, you can easily complete the reactions of these 3 topics. Understood? And for remaining topics, what are topics are there? You can make the memory map or mind map in your, and if you want, you can make your mind map in this way, and whatever points you want to add, you can add those points according to your ease of study. Okay, so I hope you all got an idea about how to study an organic chemistry, utilize those ideas, and definitely will succeed in your NEET examination. So this is about organic chemistry. So next is, okay, one more important topic of organic chemistry, two-step convergence. Okay, now suppose if you want to convert an alkyl halide to carboxylic acid. Now alkyl halide to carboxylic acid, that is not given in your alkyl halide topic. Okay, but you can convert alkyl halide to alcohol. So first, what you can do, you can convert alkyl halide to alcohol, and alcohol can be converted to carboxylic acid. So this is a two-step conversion. So this is a formula map, okay, for reactions involving two-step conversion. Okay, so you can also make a formula map involving two-step conversion so that it will be easy for you all to remember. So by using this map, you can easily understand. If I want to convert an alkyl halide to amide, what I can do, I will first convert alkyl halide to alcohol, then alcohol to carboxylic acid, then carboxylic acid to amide. So in this way, you will easily remember the reactions. Okay, you don't have to put much efforts for studying like recitation and all. Okay, just understand the reactions and make your own memory map. Okay, your organic chemistry will become very easy to study. Okay, next is inorganic chemistry. Okay, now I know Inorganic chemistry, most of them don't find difficult to study, but most of them find it boring to study. Why? Because inorganic chemistry involves plenty of theory, right? And to study, sit and read the theory, yes, it's a very difficult task. So what you should do, but you don't have any other option for mastering your inorganic chemistry. You have to sit and study if you want to master your inorganic chemistry and score good marks in your NEET examination. Okay, why? Without reading, your basic concept is not going to get clear. Okay, so what is the most important part of organic chemistry? You have to be sure that your basic concepts are very clear. And for that, you have to read your NCRE textbook very well. Here I have mentioned NCRE textbook. I know most those who are appearing from Maharashtra, your textbook also good enough. You all can read your textbook, and for additional point, you can refer some notes as well. Okay, but whatever textbook you all have to study it very well. Okay, at least 2 to 3 times you all have to study. Okay, now if you find it boring for to study your read your textbooks, what you can do, read it like a novel or read it like a story book. You will find something interesting. Okay, you can see that emoji while reading the book, it is having a smiling face, and you can see the enthusiasm in his eyes. Okay, the same way when you read a book, you should be enthusiastic as well as you should be happy, and that happiness should be seen in your smile. Okay, and in that way you can master inorganic chemistry. Okay, and base what, read your textbooks 2 to 3 times. Okay, and then you will be your basic concept definitely get clear. And first time when you will be reading, read like a storybook so that you can some develop some interest in reading the inorganic topics. Is it clear? Again, so as I had said, your periodic table and chemical bonding are like backbone to inorganic chemistry. I had already discussed this with you all. Again, among the important topics, periodic table and chemical bonding. Now, in periodic table, you should be uh, you should be very thorough with the periodic table. Okay, now periodic table I will show you in the next slide about what all you should remember in periodic table. That is, you have to learn the periodic trends very well, and then you have reactions in P block, S block, and D and F block element as well. Again, you have to plan how to study the reactions in P block, S block, D and F block. Again, I will give you a simple idea about how to study P block, S block, D and F block. Again, for studying P block, S block, D and F block, you can make a memory map. Okay, in P block elements, we have total 6 different groups, that is group 6, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So make a memory map. Say for example, group 13. So when you make a memory map, at center of the page, you will write group 13 and with arrow. With one arrow will be directing towards the configurations of the elements in group 13. Then another arrow will be indicating about the ionization enthalpy of elements in group 13. Then another arrow will indicate the about the atomic radius of elements in the group 13. Okay, and then about the electronegativity. Then one more arrow you draw that you can show the physical properties of elements of group 13. Then another area you can draw, you can write the chemical properties of all the elements in group 13. And then another arrow you can write the reactions of the elements in group 13 with air, acid, bases, okay, halogens, etc. Okay, so when you draw this memory map or mind map, what will happen? The entire information of group 13 you will be having in a single page. Okay, and that only you have to study and revise. Okay, the study material which you make by yourself will be the best one for you rather than the study materials which are available ready made on the market or in Google. Okay, so make an habit of preparing your own notes that will be helpful for you all to study. So for P block, S block, okay, what you can do, you can make a memory map of each and every, like for group T block, what I had said, group 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, make a memory map for each and every. That means you'll be having only 6 pages to study. Okay, so I hope everyone can hear. Okay, so now for periodic table, the basic is, sorry, for inorganic chemistry, the basic is in a periodic table. So you should have a very strong knowledge about periodic table. If you have a very strong knowledge of periodic table, then it will become very easy for you all to study S block element, P block element, D and F block elements. Okay, and then when you have a complete knowledge of different blocks of the elements, then that will become easy for you all to study the chemical bonding chapter. So when you study the chemical bonding, inside chemical bonding, you will be studying coordination bonding as well. So that will be helpful for you all to study coordination compound as well. And then metallurgy and hydrogen, there's a simple topic you can study at last. Is it clear? Now in periodic table, see, you can see this periodic table. What all you have to remember? You have to remember the properties like electron affinity, non-metallic character, then metallic character, atomic radius, electron affinity, ionization enthalpy. Now, what you have to remember, you have to understand what each and every terminology means, and at the same time, how they vary along the period and along the group. Because most of the questions will be asked depending upon the periodic trend. So you should have very good knowledge about the periodic trends. Is it clear? Okay, so this has given a chart, so you can also make a chart in this way and you can study. For example, you can say atomic radius. If you move from top to bottom in the periodic table, it will go on increasing, and then for periods from left to right, it will go on decreasing. So in the same way, for each and every periodic properties, we have identified the variation from top to bottom of the group and from left to right of the group. So this all you have to remember very well in case of periodic table. Then S, P, D, and F block elements also I have said here about how you can do prepare a mind map and study. For chemical bonding, you should have the knowledge of different types of bonding. You should have a very good knowledge about the hydrogen bonding, coordination bonding, covalent bonding, polar bonding, then valence bond theory. You should study about the geometry of different molecules. Okay, and then also you should have knowledge of hybridization is very important, because hybridization is linked to organic chemistry as well. So you should have a very good knowledge of organic chemistry. Then you should have the knowledge of shapes of different orbitals. Okay, and then molecular orbital theory, which is another important topic of chemical bonding. Okay, so all this knowledge you should have, because questions are asked mostly from this topic only, chemical bonding. As I said, your chemical bonding, it carries the maximum marks. Why? Because maximum 4 questions are asked from chemical bonding. And then in coordination compound, you know IUPAC nomenclature in coordination compound, you should study very well. And then you should have the basic knowledge of Werner's theory, then double salt. Then you should have the knowledge of ligands and different types of ligand. Okay, and then effective atomic number, which is very important. Okay, and then you should also have knowledge of bonding in the complexes. Okay, and application of coordination compounds. Okay, metallurgy and hydrogen, you all can, there are small topics you can do accordingly. Okay, so this is about organic chemistry. Next is we'll move on to next topic, that is physical chemistry. Okay, now physical chemistry. Okay, now most of them maybe biology, most of them be liking, and then or chemistry also most of them like, but most of them, many are afraid of physics. Okay, so those who are afraid of physics, they have a very much tendency of leaving this physical chemistry as an option. Okay, but I will say physical chemistry is also equally important as compared to organic and inorganic chemistry. So you have to master yourself in physical chemistry as well. Okay, again, how you can master physical chemistry? First of all, again, read your textbook. Okay, you might be thinking, what boring I'm saying to read the NCERT textbook, but you should listen and understand that there is no other option other than reading your textbook if you want to master in any topics in chemistry. You have to read your textbook 2 to 3 times. Until and unless you don't read your textbooks, you won't master in any of the topics. Okay. Now, why? Because the more you read your textbooks, the more understanding you will develop. Okay, and theoretical understanding will develop automatically. Okay, and then use your logic. Okay, now you know you must be going to college or you must be going to classes. Okay, okay, there are that you might be said, like you might be taught the numericals, and you all might be said that by add the formulas, it will be helpful for you. Okay, now what do you mean by by adding? Okay, just imagine you have highlighted the formulas and question, you have a question in an exam. Okay, and suppose if you're not able to understand the question, is there any use of highlighting the formulas? So what is the most important thing of formulas? You should understand the logic behind each and every formula. You should understand the concept of each and every formula. Until and unless you don't understand the concept of each and every formula, you won't be able to apply those formulas in the numerical even after studying. So that is more important. Understand the formula with a particular logic so that you will be able to understand the concept of each and every formula. Once you understand the concept of each and every formula, then definitely it will be very easy for you all to solve the numericals. So then you will move on to the next step, that is practice the numericals very well from your NCERT textbooks or also textbooks, government textbooks. Okay, and best thing is now the notes which are like whatever neat notes you'll be getting in the market, they also have an NCERT questions. Okay, so if you are from a state board, you can read the textbook of your state board, and whatever notes you have need, from that you can solve each and every NCERT question as well. Okay, so practice the numericals very well. Now, very well means, okay, most of the have the habit of doing the calculation by using calculator, right? Okay, so what happens by using calculator? But in exam, are you allowed to use the calculator? Okay, now for solving the numericals, you have to develop your mental calculation very well. Suppose if you are said what is 17 into 5. Okay, if you use the calculator 17 into 5, you should be able to calculate that multiplication also in your mind. So that means you have to master yourself your calculations in mind. That will be useful for you all to solve the numericals very easily during the examination. You will save plenty of times. Okay. So then remember the constant terms along with your units. Now there are so many constants involved in physical chemistry like ebullioscopy constant, then you have cryoscopic constant. Okay, there are so many constants involved. Like I can keep on going. Okay, but so you have to study the concepts of each and every constant terms, and also you should remember their units as well. Okay, remembering the units is also very important. Then time management. Now why time management I am putting little stress in physical chemistry? Because in case of physical chemistry you have to solve numericals, so you have to manage your time very well. Okay, if you don't manage your time properly, then you won't be able to complete your paper on time. So managing time is very important in physical chemistry, okay, particularly while solving numericals, because numericals you have to solve quickly. So that is why I said you improve your mind calculations, understand the concept of the formula, clear, and you should have knowledge of basic mathematical concept. Basic mathematical concept means you should have the basic knowledge of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Is this you must have learned in your primary only? You should have the knowledge of log calculation, and you should also have the basic understanding of slope of a line. When you study physical chemistry, you must have gone through the word slope many times. Okay, you should have basic knowledge of a slope of a line or slope of a graph. Is it clear? The basic mathematical knowledge you should have. Even if you hate maths, you should have this basic knowledge for solving the numericals in physical chemistry. Then learn the concepts of equilibrium very well. Now you know you have ionic equilibrium and chemical equilibrium. Okay, those concepts are very important from your need point of view to understand the concept of equilibrium very well. And we have very different types of physical quantities in your physical chemistry. So what is the main thing? You have to remember the units of each and every physical quantities. Okay, that is again important. Okay. Now I will give you an example about how to solve a numerical. For example, I had said you'll remember you should have a basic, you should understand the concept behind each and every formula. Now here is a question. Calculate the amount of work done when 0.5 moles of an ideal gas is expanded isothermally and reversibly from a volume of 2 liter to 5 liter. Now first question, what you have to ask yourself, what to calculate. This is the first question while solving a numerical, you have to ask yourself. Okay, we have to calculate the work done. Second question, what you should ask, what is happening in the given question? What is happening in the given question? Expansion of gas. Then third question, what you should ask yourself, what are the given conditions? What is the given condition? Isothermal and reversible. Okay, so from these three questions, you should definitely get the concept involved in this question. So what is the concept involved in this question? The concept of maximum work is involved. Okay, once you understand the concept, then you know for maximum which formula to use. Okay, so the concept behind this formula is maximum work. So then you will apply the formula of maximum work, and then you can substitute all the values and then calculate. Okay, again, here I have given a very important note. Remember the units. Again, now see for R. R, you have two different values. R is a gas constant. It is having two different values. One is 8.314 joule per Kelvin per mole. Another is 0.0821 liter per Kelvin per mole. Understood? Now, you should know which value of R you should use. Okay, now in 8.314 joule per Kelvin per mole, joule is used. That means if energy is mentioned over here, then you will be using this, that is 8.314 joule per Kelvin per mole, that value. But in this case, liter is given. So which value of R we have to use? We have to make use of 0.0821 liter ATM per Kelvin per mole. That value of R we have to use. Is it clear? So you have to remember the units as well for solving the numericals. Is it clear? So understood how to solve a numerical in physical chemistry. Okay. So that those are the ideas about how to study, few tips and tricks about studying organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry, and physical chemistry. Okay, and I definitely believe you all have got some better input for preparing for a NEET examination, and I guarantee you, if you follow that, you will definitely score good marks in your examination. And more general tips and tricks for you all. Okay, now first of all, plan a study timetable every day. How many of them plan a study timetable every day? So I can see many of them smiling. So most probably most of them must be preparing a timetable. Okay, and I know in your timetable there will be less time for studying and more time for a leisure work, right? Using your smartphones, watching TV, or in your social networking sites, Instagram, WhatsApp, Snapchat, Hike, everything. Okay, and very limited time for your studies. Okay, now lockdown is going on. I will tell you, your batch is the luckiest batch, I will say. Why? Okay, you all must be wondering, we are suffering from lockdown, then how can we be lucky? Yes, you are really lucky. Just imagine what was the date for your NEET exam. That was in the first week of May, and your board exams get over with the almost in the first week of March. So hardly you will have only 2 months for preparation. Now just imagine your NEET examination has been postponed to July 26th. That means there is a gap of 4 months. So just imagine if you are utilized all the time, how much very well you can prepare for your NEET examination. Okay, so that is more important. Planning your study timetable is very important every day. Your batch is really lucky. You all have ample of time to study. So make your use of your time very well. Okay, so now plan your timetable very well. Okay, now I will tell you all one thing. The difficult topics which you all have, you know your mind will be very fresh early in the morning. So what you can do, get up in the morning, 1 to 2 hours, go through all the go through your text, study all the points. If it is physical, study all the formulas, understand all the formulas. If it is organic chemistry, understand all the reactions. Okay, so study your textbooks very well in the early morning, when as soon as you get up for 1 to 2 hours. Okay, whatever the topics you feel difficult, understand. So you read the textbooks in the morning, and it will be very boring if you will continuously study. And then at night, before you go to sleep, 1 hour you can solve the MCQs. So will you all do it? There's a very beneficial method of studying. Early morning when you get up, study for 2 hours, and after a gap at night when you will be going to sleep, before that 1 hour, solve few questions of that particular topic whichever you all are studying. And this will definitely test your memory power, and this will definitely test your understanding, and you will ultimately you will develop a very good knowledge of each and every topic, and you can master yourself. Okay, and in between time, apart from chemistry, you can study some other topics. Why? Because physics and biology also are equally important for scoring in your NEET examination. And read NCERT book 2 to 3 times. And here also I will say, you're reading your textbooks, not only NCERT. If you have a state textbook, you can read it, and then from your notes also you can cover the remaining points as well. And one more thing, focus on one book. Okay, because some of them are so much obsessed to score good marks in examinations. And sometimes what will happen if a one person will come and suggest one book, he will start using that book. Again, if someone will suggest some other book, he will have that book as well. So finally, what will happen? He will be having 4 to 5 books in his hand and totally confused about from where to study. So you stick to one book. Is it clear? And then make separate notes for reactions, structures, formulas, and numericals. Okay, make separate notes for your reactions, structures, formulas, and numericals. So when you want to study organic, you can revise your reactions very easily and structures very easily. If you want to study physics, formulas and numericals will be separate. You can study them very easily. Then have an habit of using sticky notes, flashcards, mnemonics. Okay, sticky notes. Whatever formulas you find it difficult, write it in a sticky note and stick it in your room. So decorate your rooms with all your study materials. Okay, your room will look beautiful, and at the same time, when you get up in the morning, you will definitely go through that, so you will never forget those points. So in that way, sticky notes will be useful. Flashcards, if you can make flashcards for different reactions, for different numericals. Okay, and mnemonics is one of the best way of memorizing technical parts. And mnemonics is very useful for studying the periodic table. It will make your study of periodic table very easy. Okay, and then next is last revision time. LRT I call it as. That is the last revision time is very important. Now why it is very important? I will say your how to plan your LRT. Now you know now your date has been decided as July 26th. So what you have to do, you have to study till July 6th. Okay, you can study till July 6th. Okay, so after studying for July 6th, you will be having almost 18 days. 18 days you have to just revise. Nothing new you have to study. Okay, last 18 days you will just revise whatever you have studied, and you shouldn't do any new topics. Okay, because at the end moment, if you study any new topics, you will be confusing yourself. Okay, so LRT last 18 days, just revise whatever you have studied and don't study any other new topics. Is it clear? Next is utilize your leisure time. Okay, now you all must be the lockdown period, so everyone is in lots of leisure time, right? So you all must be cherishing your leisure time. You all must be enjoying your leisure times. Okay, so that is more important. Utilizing your leisure time. Okay, why? Because in leisure time you might get addicted to some social networking site, or you might get addicted to games. So that you should be very careful of not getting addicted to any of the things. If you get addicted to any of the things, that will divert your focus from your studies. It is very important to use your leisure time very well and keep your focus on your studies. And next most important things, whenever you study anything, then practice previous year's question papers. Whatever question papers you all have, practice those question papers. That is very important. Okay, it will give you lots of practice for your NEET examination. Then ask your doubts frankly. You all might be going to classes, someone must be guiding you all. Okay, so you should be frank enough to clear your doubts. So if you will be afraid of clearing your doubts, then never you all can score good marks in it. So whatever doubts you all have, you should be frank enough to clear your doubts. Then next important thing is selection of questions during the examination. Okay, whenever exam is conducted, sorry, during the examination time, you know 4+4 for right answers, -1 for wrong answer. Okay, you should be very careful while selecting the questions. Okay, now solve those questions first, whichever you feel confident enough. Okay, whichever questions you are confident, first complete those questions. Okay, if you have some doubt, leave that question or try that questions later at last after completing the entire paper. So selection of questions during examination is again very important for scoring marks in here. Okay, and one more thing I will be adding, and stop believing in rumors, because as the exams will near, okay, you will get plenty of rumors that this question can be asked is going to come in the examination. Okay, few questions we might get and the set of questions, and you might be set questions will be asked in the examination from this one day. Okay, the stop believing in rumors, that is also very important. Okay, that will divert your mind. Okay, and finally the most important thing is be confident and believe in yourself. When you go in exam, you should believe in yourself. You shouldn't believe in the person who is sitting in front of you or besides you or behind you. Okay, you should believe in yourself and you should enter into the examination hall with full of confidence and hope that you will be able to definitely score good marks in exam and come out with flying colors in the examination, and in future will definitely become a doctor. Okay, so we are about to end up a session. So before ending a session, I would like to give three magical words. Okay, which these magical words was given to me by some other person when I was in 10th standard. So it was useful to me. I hope that this will definitely be useful to you all as well. So whenever you all feel low or you feel that you are losing your confidence, close your eyes and you use these magical words. That is, I can, I will, and I must. That will definitely make so strong. You can see the emoji, how strong it has become. Okay, so that will definitely make you strong. So use these three magical words to develop confidence in yourself. Okay, early morning when you get up, close your eyes and say, I can, I will, I must. When you go to sleep at night, close your eyes and say, I can, I will, I must. And definitely will be able to score very good marks in examinations. Okay, so we are about to end the session. Okay, thank you for your patience and attention. And I guarantee you, if you follow the tips and tricks given by me, you will definitely score good marks in your NEET examination. And I hope everyone will come out with flying colors in a NEET examination and be a successful doctor. Thanks a lot.